Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to welcome you all to the Monday, May 21st meeting of the Historical Preservation Commission. If you take a moment to look at the bottom of the agenda that states the mission of the group, and we will go ahead and start our meeting with the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, consent agenda is good. There's also the, got administrative COAs that we're taking care of, and I guess we can probably go right into the first item. And as we call your name to come up and review your COA, if you would just approach the table, have a seat, and please state your name and your address, please. And first up is Mr. Ray Stokes. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Indeed.
It's a pleasure. And I appreciate all the work that you guys do as a committee. It's very important to the city.
Indeed, thank you.
My name is Raymond Stokes, and I live at 305 Washington Street, and I've lived there since 1971. I'm requesting permission to have a iron fence, a decorative fence placed around the immediate front of the property. And I'm also requesting permission to have a gate placed between 305 and 307. Sally and Jeff Snyder live at 307, and the alleyway actually belongs to my property. And they have no issue with a 5-foot gate there. This is basically the construction of this, and it's being done by, the work will be done by Jeremy Funderburk. And he's done a lot of other work in the city, and I think if you want to notify an example of it, you can look at the fence that's in front of the villa. And Jeremy did that work, so that's the quality of the work that we're looking at doing. And he gave me just a cross-section of what you're doing. And it's a very simple fence. This is a Greek Revival house, as you well know. And at one point in time, it had a very low Victorian-type decorative fence there. In fact, there are 2 sections remaining on that fence, which will be taken out, and we'll put in a very simple fence like this with a 2-inch post, and we'll have a ball on top of the post. The decoration on the gate will match or mirror the decoration on the glass door, the storm door, which matches that design over the transom. And the fence is 40 inches tall. It'll be mounted on the concrete foundation that is there. Basically, that's it. So, questions?
Applications Committee?
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Is there a reason why it's 40 inches tall?
Yes, there is, because the railing, if you're facing the house, the railing on the left side, the porch railing, I wanted the top of the fence. I didn't want different angles, and so that when standing on the out on the street, looking at the house, you see a fence this high, you see a railing this high. So the fence railing is 40 inches because will bring it even to the top of the porch railing on the left side of the house, because it'll come up to that post.
That railing
Yeah,
there?
that railing, Yeah, it'll come to that point there. That's 40 inches.
So how high is this existing fence?
Probably 18 inches,
Okay.
maybe, something like that.
The reason I ask you that is the guidelines state front yard fences to be no more than 36 inches, but it's referring to wooden fences. It doesn't say anything about iron fences.
Right.
So I move that it be approved as submitted.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
By the way, is it the ball
Good.
that's 40 inches high?
The
The
ball will actually be probably, maybe it might take it to 42.
Okay.
40, yeah.
So it's the actual pickets.
Yes, the top of the picket,
Mhm.
right.
Excellent.
Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Mhm.
All right, next up, we have the property at, I get my screen back up, 609 Washington Street.
Hi there.
Hello.
My name is Jackie Bolt. Actually, Jordan is my husband. He submitted the stuff, but he couldn't be here. And we are trying to get approval to put in a 6-foot, just a wood retaining wall around the back. I mean, sorry, not a retaining wall, fence around the back, and then a small retaining wall with a patio just behind the back porch there. And we didn't realize that landscaping would require approval, so as soon as we realized that, we had already done some of the work, but we halted all the work until now, so.
Right, Applications Committee?
You don't have an alleyway back there, do you? Mm-mm. And the fence is only going up to the back facade of the house? It's not going beyond that to the way you have it drawn, it just meets the back of the house? Is that correct?
Yes, it'll just be in the back.
Okay. Yeah, really, if you don't see it from any place, you don't really need approval. I guess you'd see those little side pieces to the fence, but that's really all you'd need to probably get approved.
Oh, perfect.
So, so I move that it be approved as submitted.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? None, you are happy to
Thank
go
you.
right ahead and fence away. Thank you so much. Next, we have, keeping in with the same street, 419 Washington Street.
Quick.
I'm here to submit to install new wood windows in our garage at 419 Washington Street that currently, since we've owned it and since I've ever seen it, doesn't have any windows in it at all. And I haven't been able to find any photographic evidence as to what the windows were that existed there, so I based what I submitted on the rest of our home, which is generally a one light over one light window, pretty simple, which I think kind of makes sense for also the style, very simple style of the garage.
Mhm. Applications Committee?
Move to approve as submitted.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
We're in a rush today.
You are ready
Man,
to
I've
do
never
windows.
been out of here so fast.
Thanks, Victoria. Have a good one.
Victoria, that means you're doing something right.
Next, we have 2424 Rivermont Avenue.
He's flying.
Well, it's too bad we ran out of approvals.
Get a jail-free card.
Here we go.
I'm Mark Smith. I live at 1801 Parkland Drive, and I'm the representative for Rivermont Evangelical Presbyterian Church. I'm also an architect, and the drawings that have been submitted were from me personally, not from Architectural Partners, the firm I work for. So the project was a result of some structural problems with the existing masonry wall. The history of the building is the existing sanctuary is 1925, but in 1991, they built that addition that comes off the back of it. And looking at the photograph, it's the one that has this scaffolding attached to it. So it's that mass right there that we're talking about is 1991. The high roof is the 1925 sanctuary. So in 1991, they built an organ chamber that extended out, and that's what you're seeing there. During the most recent construction in 2016, 2017, there was a lot of site work in that area. That actually moved the road further away from the building. There was, possible equipment, vibratory rollers and things like that, or who knows, it could have been earthquake. We don't know how the wall shifted, but anyway, cracks started forming in the masonry wall, and vermiculite insulation that was in the core of the block walls started making its way into the organ chamber, which for organ air chambers and all that, it was a huge problem, of course. So for the last 6 to 8 months, we've been doing structural stabilization to the foundation using auger piles and grade beams and putting in rebar in the existing wall. We found out that when it was built in '91, they didn't put any reinforcing in the CMU walls for a, 40-foot tall wall, which is crazy. But anyhow, that was all being performed under the design of Nolan Frieza structural engineers. So up until now, everything's been structural. And to get to the structural part of it, we had to take off the existing addition, which is right there where the ephes gable is with the arch, the 2 columns, and those little wing walls right there. So that's what had to come off, minus the wing walls. We left that. And that allowed them to get in and do their structural rehab work, stabilization. So by putting something back, we wanted to do something a little bit deeper, and we're coming out proud by 9 feet, which creates more of a portico rather than just a small entryway, which gives some shelter. There were some physical reasons for it, and there were some aesthetic reasons for it. It was a little lightweight looking. It had ephes up high. Anyway.
You might want to explain what that is.
Ephes is the synthetic stucco that's on insulation board. That's the gray material up there in the gable. But it did have slate. It did have a slate roof, and we salvaged the slate. We're going to reuse what slate we can, and then add new slate to it, Buckingham slate. So we're using the same column heights and configurations, but using 6 across the front instead of 2, and using a hip roof instead of a gable roof. And took and got rid of the ephes that was at the ground floor entrance, which is in that old photograph where the children are. That was ephes back there, and we're putting brick in place of it. So those are the changes. I think that probably sums it up as far as what changes were made.
Applications Committee?
When did you say the original addition was put on with the ephes?
The ephes edition was 1991. And
That's the one you just took off. So that's, it's
Right.
not even, so that wasn't even, that has no historical bearing anyway to the church.
everything we're touching is 1991. We're not touching 1925.
I move that it be approved as submitted.
Second.
Any further discussion? I have a question. It looks like the front elevation of that now is out to the same part as what the, I guess, front elevation of the wing walls was? Didn't
It comes,
extend out further
the
than that, or
columns
more?
actually come out to where the seat wall was.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go back to the, that old photograph,
Mhm.
you see those brick, yeah,
Yeah.
there you go, those seat walls?
Yeah.
That's how far,
Oh, it
that's
comes
where
out
the
that
columns
far,
come out.
okay, okay.
But keep in mind, the road is not there any longer. The road's been pushed to the right of that photograph about 30 feet.
Okay,
So there's a yard there now. And
Mm-hmm.
where those children are standing right there is actually dropped about 12 feet, and that's where the playground is now.
Any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Ready to go. Thank
Appreciate
you
that.
for
You didn't
thorough
run out of-
information.
You didn't run out of approvals.
Thanks, Mark. Next up is 621 Court Street.
We'll have a little show and tell here this afternoon. No, you're not. I'm Randy Paul, I run a company called Lynchburg Restoration. Their address is 317 Cleveland Avenue, and I'm here to get a COA for Court Street United Methodist Church. We will be doing some stabilization on that bell tower. Not doing anything to replace the tower or the problems, but we are trying to stabilize it. What we're proposing to do, what's that original picture? You have that? Yeah, yeah, right. What we'll be doing is putting this steel angle on each one of the corners on each elevation in three different locations. One being the bottom that's 5 foot, next one up is 4 foot, and then 1.5 feet. This is the angle that will go on the corner. We'll have a galvanized 3/4 inch threaded rod that comes in from one elevation. And we'll have another one that comes in from the other elevation. And what we'll do is actually tighten it to compress the tower. And these photographs were a little bit late, but that'll show you what's occurring up there right now. We're not trying to tighten it up or anything. We're just gonna get it real good and snug so it won't spread anymore.
There were issues with where we needed to actually close the street next to the church, is that right?
We need to close this street because what's that is turned into a liability issue. Because right now, some of the sandstone pieces, veneer, are falling off of the church. Right now, the sidewalk is barricaded, but we will need to close off that section of the street in order to do our work. And this will be exterior, of course, it'll be seen from the exterior. It'll be painted the color of the sandstone, so it's not like it's gonna jump out at you. This has been galvanized, that's why it's aluminum color, but it will be painted the same color as the sandstone that's on the church. The construction right now, the tower itself was built out of brick, and it doesn't, looking at it from the inside, it doesn't have any cracks or anything in it. The tower is really in good shape. The problem is with the sandstone veneer, and that problem was caused from the roof, and over the years, it's just dumped tons and tons of water down the face of that stone, and then you have freeze and fall that's coming into the picture, and everything is moving out. Now the southwest corner is, that one right there, is the worst. And those pictures were taken basically on the southwest corner. But the stone has really moved. They repaired it one time probably 20 years ago, but the cracks have even grown since then. So that's what we're doing, what we're proposing.
Applications Committee?
I've actually met with Randy, and he has explained this process to me. And I think what you might also want to explain, Randy, is the fact that what the solution is. This is a temporary Band-Aid,
Right.
so to speak. But in order for this to be repaired, there is no time limit that they're going to repair it, if ever. But you might want to explain what has to be done in order to alleviate the problem. And I think that has to do with the roof.
Right. All right, and then the original plans were when we first started, we were going to correct the entire situation. And it started with the slate on the roof, and it will have about a 12-inch more of an overhang, so that when the water hits the slate, it'll come off and drop to the ground rather than hitting the sandstone and soaking in. Now the structure, the sheathing and everything under the slate is kind of shot because it's rotted. It's been subjected to water over the years. So that would have to, the frame would have to be rebuilt and then reslated, and then the stone would have to come off and be put back on. And the biggest problem is that what's happening to a lot of the old large churches in Lynchburg is money, and the membership is dwindling. And they have a tremendous problem at this church with that going on. And to repair it it could reach $1 million. And I don't think that's something that they can really come up with.
So this is a remedy to at least stabilize it.
Stabilize it and to eliminate the liability issue. Because weekly, we go by there and pick up stone that have fallen off the tile.
Well, it's not exactly the aesthetics we like here at the commission. But under the circumstances, because of the liability, I move to approve the application as submitted.
Second.
Any further discussion? I have a question. What is that the length of the brackets that will go around, or are they
Now,
longer?
that's the length of will you flip back to that original picture? That's the length of the very top piece.
The top piece, okay.
See, that was like 18 inches.
Okay.
The next one down, of course, would be 4 feet on each corner.
Uh-huh.
Then the next one would be 5 foot.
Okay, I see now, okay. And those rods will run all the way to the next corner and tie into one another?
Exactly,
Okay.
right. The design was by Masters Engineers,
Mm-hmm.
and they will be around to make sure that it's done properly.
Sure.
And then they'll inspect it afterwards.
So it's a total of 4 rods, to make sure I understand.
No, it's a
One.
total of 5 rods on each elevation,
Okay, right, okay.
right,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
right. 5 on each elevation.
Mm-hmm. Any further questions, comments? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, you're ready to go. Mr.
Right.
Barr, thank you for your efforts.
Yes.
Absolutely.
One thing that I did leave out is, once it's in place, we will spray it with this sticky material called Birdex, so the birds won't be sitting on that rail and helping to beautify the area. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Randy, do you want these back?
Oh, thank you. The agenda's still up there. I think that was the,
Yeah, the other one, Caval's not coming.
right, the other one did, okay.
Yep.
Update, future HPC agendas will be distributed to commission by SharePoint on, right?
Has everybody gotten SharePoint to work?
Mm.
Okay. If you're still struggling, we need to try and use Google Chrome, and if you have any other issues, I've got an IT contact. All right. And then just, a planning commission reviewed the ordinance changes relating to HBC. They recommended approval of them, and they'll be going to city council June 12th for final approval. And then after that, we'll be operating under the new ordinance.
Okay,
Yep.
excellent. Any other business? No. Hearing none, we'll call the meeting adjourned. Next meeting will be June 8th, 2018. Thank you.